somewhere along the line I heard it'd probably be good to do an about me video. So I know I talk all things real estate, listings, lifestyle of Sarasota in this page, but you might be curious to know a little bit about my background, and if we've worked together you probably do know, but today's all about me, I guess, and where I'm from, and I'm gonna try to say everything but real estate in today's video, so join me on this about me video. Well, I guess it all started back in Wisconsin, where I'm born and raised. I was born in Madison, Madtown they call it back home, and I have not been back home in probably 5 or 6 years as of today's taping, which is in 2024, April, getting toward the latter end post-tax season, 2024. So I don't go home much. My family's kind of spread out. But anyway, born in Madison, raised in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, and I have 3 other siblings, 1 half brother, but we all grew up back in Stevens Point. It was actually ranked one of the top 10 best places in the country to raise a family in a small town. So I love that. The Wisconsin River actually runs through my little hometown, and we grew up pretty much on the way. We lived in 2 different homes. One was sort of, I was almost going to say the mainland, just in town, Stevens Point, and at that time during the university being in session, it was like population about 35,000 people, so not too big of a town, not overly small. I know there are some towns back home like 800 to 1,000 people, so not that small. But and then we built a home on the Wisconsin River, and it was just one of those very memorable times in my life where, you know, I got to see the home building process, my parents getting excited about buying this great piece of land right there on the river, and we built a custom, like, kind of contemporary home and grew up there. I went to Stevens Point Area Senior High School, aka SPASH. Hey, if anybody of my SPASH friends are watching, hello, miss you all, and I watch all you guys on Facebook. You know, so I went to high school there, and then it was off to college. So I actually got into Madison, but I ended up going to Stevens Point, UWSP, UW Stevens Point, which is a part of Madison. My parents have rental properties there, and the one that I said, well, if I'm staying in Stevens Point, I'm gonna stay in that rental property. So I actually stayed in the dorms the first year because I wanted the whole college experience, and I'm really glad I did it that way. I think that it was a cool experience, and then after a year I was like, okay, this is so small. And like I said, they had rental properties in town, and I chose the one that was like right on campus. So I was able to live there, and I had roommates, of course. Might have even had some basement parties. Don't tell my parents. And, you know, Wisconsin is a very, like, there's like bars on every corner, kind of a small, you know, Midwest town. And, you know, we would go to the bars and come back home, and it was just like, being right there was such a great experience, and meeting so many people that I still talk to this date was just a phenomenal experience. You know, and then all my siblings went to college as well. So I have an older brother, Sean, who is a chiropractor who lives in Lexington, Kentucky, and he's got 2 kids, an amazing wife, Fanta, we love her, and they've got 2 little kids. And then it comes then me in order, and then Brent, my younger brother, who is the reason I moved to Sarasota after college, and he was already here at Ringling Art School, which if you hear anything about Sarasota, you'll definitely hear Ringling. So he was here, and I lived with him for like at least a year, maybe 2 years, I can't remember. And then I was like, I'm over this. I need to get my own place. But it was a great transition to coming, living, working, being in Sarasota. So it was a wonder. I never heard of Sarasota, so it was like, you know, he was here, and it was just convenient. And I had an instant roommate, so I packed up my 91 Oldsmobile and drove down here, and it just made it here somehow. So, and then I have a younger sister. Her name is Aisha, and she is out in Hollywood, California, Marina Del Rey. And Brent, my younger brother, has since moved out there as well. So those two are only like 30 minutes apart. They're really close. My sister has 2 kids as well. So each of my siblings have a boy and a girl. So I love my nieces and nephews. They're so far away, so we do FaceTime a lot. We try to make time, a couple times a year to see each other. It can be challenging. We all have very busy schedules. Brent still does his art, and he does modeling and acting. He's just doing his LA thing. And then my sister's in TV, so I think we all have sort of like an artsy-fartsy kind of like vibe to us, but she works in the TV industry, post-production, so I'm super proud of all my siblings. And they're actually coming down soon. And what's really fun about this coming trip in the summer is we're gonna recreate, like old photos where you recreate it. So we're gonna try to do that. So excited. What else? What else can I tell you? Well, if you're friends with me on social media, which if you're not, go on my Instagram. It's at Real Shayla Twit. And the only reason why I put the @real is because I got hacked, because it was at Shayla Twit. But anyway, go to @Real Shayla Twit, which is all of my handles now. Instagram, Facebook, and all of that. LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. Obviously YouTube. If you're watching, hello. So if you're on my social media, I do, one of my biggest passions is animals, and specifically dogs, although I've always had, dogs later in life. And then I have stumbled on this kitty who just was in my neighborhood, so I rescued her. So, and I never thought I'd be a cat lady, but apparently I'm a cat lady now. So anything that I can do to give back when I'm not working so much is anything having to do with animals and dogs. And I just love them so much. Like, I would die for my animals that, I kind of pick and choose my like charities. And one of my biggest causes is the Humane Society at Lakewood Ranch. The women that work there and volunteer there and just donate so much time, I wish I could donate more time, are incredible. And the property that it sits on is out east. It's quiet. There's a bunch of land for like the dogs and animals to run around, and all of the staff just like love and adore these animals so much. And it warms my heart, but it breaks my heart at the same time, because I'm just the type of person that can't volunteer my time at the shelter because I want to take them all home, and I think it just would make me so sad. So I love that there are people that can do that, and so they're just a godsend, So I do make a trip out there at least once or twice a year to go see the shelter and kind of get my eyes on the place. And then they have fundraisers, throughout the year and stuff like that. What else can I tell you? Not to get into real estate, because I'm not going to do that, but I did get into the real estate business, obviously. I've been through a lot in my journey coming to this point as we sit here in April 2024. I had really was anxious to build an empire. I guess let's just call it an empire. It's not, but build my little empire, right? My nest egg, my retirement. So I did buy a few properties, and I ended up going bankrupt. That was in the Great Recession. So really kind of lost everything. Learned so much, swallowed a lot of pride during that time. There's a lot of humility involved in that process. And like I said, learned so much, and learned not to repeat the same mistakes, which is why I think I'm a great advocate for, as an agent of what I do. But I'm actually videoing. It just happened to be that I was, in the vicinity here today during my work schedule, and happened to just feel like, oh, this would be a good spot to do the video, which is actually a rental property of mine that I'm proud of myself for buying, and it's a great Airbnb. So I think this location is very apropos to the topic of the video. And I do love what I do, and so I enjoy life here in Sarasota. I also really love to travel when I can. So, I didn't mention this. Speaking of travel, my mom is actually from Istanbul. So as kids, we would go there, and it's so funny because my dad would be working, but we would go sometimes for the whole summer And with 4 little kids, if you can imagine how crazy that would be to travel back then. So my mom would actually put us on like a leash. So we'd all have like the suspenders and we would all be tied on the leash because like 4 kids in a huge city is insane. So we would be on a leash, and of course nowadays they'd probably look at you like you're nuts, lady, like I'm calling Child Protective Services or something. But we would go there and met all of the neighborhood kids on the block and play soccer. And I remember there was like this elementary school across the street, and we went, and there's like this courtyard or whatever. We'd all get together and play soccer, and then in the back of their building they had like this rose garden, and then as kids, like, you pick up on languages so quickly. You're just like, kids can just pick up on that so quickly. So we were all like pretty much fluent in Turkish at those ages, because when you're immersed in a culture like that, especially for a summer, you're really forced to learn the culture and the language. So that's just the best way. So grew up kind of with that cultural background. My dad's just from Iowa, cornfields. My mom and dad are still around, and my mom is an investor, so she's got rental properties. And then my dad recently retired. He's a chiropractor. And when I say retired, I mean he's still seeing 30 patients a day on average, Monday, 3 days a week. So he just can't sit still, and I feel like I'm gonna be like that. Like, you know, I can't just like do nothing. So I think that's a bit of a background on me and kind of my family, and I've got some extended family around the country, and I still have my uncle overseas, my uncle in Bodrum, Turkey. So we're on a WhatsApp, so we connect every now and again on the WhatsApp. But yeah, so I've got, like I said, I've got other cousins and family around the country, and I'm super proud of all of them. All of us are pretty much, a lot of my family and extended family are entrepreneurial, so I think there's a lot of entrepreneurial spirit in the Twit family. It's just called the Twit family. I know y'all are married and stuff, but I guess that's me in a nutshell. And you already know about all the real estate, so I love what I do. And I don't know if you have any questions for me about like the Humane Society or anything like that. I post some of that on my social media. Like I said, I'd love to hear a like or a follow or a comment or something on one of those platforms or here. So anyway, that's it, guys. And again, thank you for tuning in, subscribing, liking, commenting. If you have a home in the area, Manatee, Sarasota, or Charlotte counties, I'd love to give you an accurate depiction of the value. Zillow is wholeheartedly inaccurate most of the time, and we have a lot of other great resources. So I would love to hear from you, or if you're purchasing. I just was out with a buyer today actually, but work with all kinds of different people in areas and island and off island and all that stuff. So thank you for listening to me rant about me. Weird, it feels weird to do that. I'm so used to just talking about houses and stuff. So thank you for watching, tuning in, subscribing, and all of that good stuff.